From the heart of Wayne County, this is Wayne Goldsboro Television, Goldsboro, North Carolina. Today is Monday. It's the 21st day of March 2016. Welcome to a brand new season. They call this spring.
Woo!
Woo! There you go. Hello, my name is Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
And here we are, the first full day of spring. It came in yesterday.
Yes.
We've got Good Friday coming up the end of this week. Sunday, of course, is Easter Sunday. So I hope you're in the spirit.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. We've had some beautiful weather leading up to this new season, and I hope it's a good one for everyone. And for those of you who are suffering with allergies, hang in there.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully the worst of it will be over sooner than later.
Well, we've had a little bit of rain here in the last day. Not everybody got rain, but we had a little in some areas, and maybe that helped with the pollen.
The pollen.
Pollen a little bit there. I've never been to Poland.
Wash it away.
That's right, but I understand everything's yellow. Yellow. Anyway, there you go.
Yellow.
Yellow? No, he's not here. Okay, we have the April the 16th is the Greater Goldsboro Road Run.
Woo.
We had Scott Edwards in the other day, and Scott's telling us this is the second oldest sanctioned road run in North Carolina.
Wow.
And wow, that's exactly right.
Wow.
Do they do a great job with that. This is the Sunrise Kiwanis Greater Goldsboro Road Run. Takes place April 16th, and you can go online to runtheeast.org and get information about that. And also, runtheeast.com. You can also go to Facebook and go to the Greater Goldsboro Road. Yes, Greater Goldsboro Road Run. All the letters run together, and I don't know what it says. It looks like Rotterdam. Greater Goldsboro Rotterdam. And you can get information there. You can also sign up for that road run as well. There's a 1K fun walk. There's a 5K something else, and then a 10K boogie boogie. All right?
That's great. So yeah, if you're watching and you're like, that sounds like fun, I don't run, you can still come out and participate in the walk.
Sure.
And come out and watch. It's always a great crowd and certainly a great effort done here locally.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Trivia question for today. I'll ask the question now. We'll wait until after the interviews, and then we'll give you the answer in the second half of the program. Here's the question for today. The category for today is train wrecks. No, this is not about my life.
I was about to say, if there was going to be a book title about my life, I feel like that's what
train wreck.
We're thinking along the same lines.
We are thinking along the same lines here. But anyway, here you go. It's you remember the TV commercials about the caveman? It's so easy, even a caveman can do it.
Sure.
Okay, well, ABC built a TV show called Caveman. Now, it was hard. They did. It didn't last very long because it was terrible, and it flopped. Well, they did this after the cavemen had been so popular in commercials on television for what insurance company? What was the insurance company of which they spoke in the TV commercials featuring cavemen? All right, but then ABC had a flop with that. Anyway, that's the question, and we'll give you the answer in the next portion of the program.
Very good.
What have you there?
What have you?
You have
what
that.
have you? Spring walks, folks. Go, Wayne, go.
Next one's right there.
Has a lot of great stuff coming up. The next one is going to be March 26th, which is this Saturday, at the Cliffs of the Noose State Park. You start out at the Visitor Center in Seven Springs, and it'll be for the 100th anniversary celebration of North Carolina State Parks. It's a 2-mile walk that starts at 9 a.m. and a 4-mile walk at 10 a.m. There are activities all day, and you can check out the pig picking as well.
Really?
So that is this Saturday, March 26th at the Cliffs of the Noose if you're watching and you've not been or you hadn't been in a while, I encourage you to go. You can be a part of the Go Wayne Go Walk. This is a great initiative with a lot of great people here in our community, and I believe it was a vision from Wayne Memorial Hospital and Becky Craig and some fine folks to get our community moving, because we know an active community is a healthier community. And also Cliffs of the Noose, the initiative and the bond that was just recently passed, the Connect NC, they will receive funding for some much needed improvements. So that is one example of benefits that will come to your community.
That's right, exactly, and that's going to help us tremendously. And let me tell you something. Would you believe there are people who were born and reared right here in Wayne County who have never been to the Cliffs of the Noose State Park, didn't even know it existed? But let me tell you something. You go down Highway 111 as if you were going to go to St. Petersburg, Florida, or in that general direction. Anyway, you head in that direction, Highway 111. You go just a little ways before you leave Wayne County, and it's right there on the left. The signs are very clear. And if you have never been to the Cliffs of the Noose State Park, get ready for an experience that you will absolutely love.
That's right.
There's so many things to do there.
That's right. So, you know, if you want to go and walk and run in more of an active pace, you can go out there. There's always great activity going out there. But if you want to go for a stroll, we'll take our kids out there a couple of times a year and stroll. And we say we're going to go for a hike. But it's just a slow walk, and you can just take in the fresh air and the beauty that is right here in your community.
I love going out there because you're actually off the highway. You can't hear the cars.
You can't hear a thing.
All you hear the birds, and that's fun. You know, as long as you don't shoot them, you know, you're okay. But it's fun, and it is invigorating. Yeah. You feel good about it. You've seen the TV commercials, the PSAs that say, you know, get out of the house, go to the forest.
Yeah.
That's exactly the place to go. Cliffs of the Noose, and you go and you just have a good old time. They have camping out there and everything. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
That's right.
Okay, we're going to go to our interview, and we will be back after that. Today we're honored to have the County Manager, George Wood, in the studio with us, and good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Wayne.
I appreciate you coming by and talking to us.
Glad to do it.
I want to remind everyone this is a regular thing. He comes by, Mr. Wood comes by once a month and kind of keeps us updated as to what's going on in the county. And we want to start by touching on some of the things that happened during this past week's commissioner meeting. The Board of Commissioners met this past Tuesday. Give us an idea of some of the things that, some of the big things that were discussed and went over.
Well, I think the biggest one, and we spent about 2 hours on a work session on it, is every year we are confronted with our medical insurance renewal. And of course, everybody knows from their own personal situation that medical insurance continues to escalate. The costs keep going up.
Oh, yes.
And we were faced with a 9.3% increase in our premium. And just to put that in perspective, we spend about $6.7 million on medical insurance for our employees.
Wow.
That's what our costs end up being, counting our claims administration and all of that. So we run a self-insured program, and then we have reinsurance to back that up if a claim gets really high. But $6.7 million, if you're looking at about a 9.3% increase, we were looking at about a $629,000 increase. Increase. And
that's a lot of money.
That's a huge amount of money in our budget. And so we knew we had to do something about it. And this happens pretty much every year. Medical inflation is going up much higher than regular inflation. Despite what people talk about with Obamacare and everything else, the trajectory has still been up every year. And so we asked our consultant, Mark III, to look at getting us down to somewhere in the neighborhood of 5%. Another option was to get it, what would it take to get us to 4%? And the third option was, what would it take to have no premium increase at all?
I like that one.
Yeah. And so from a money standpoint, just so everybody understands, the county pays for the employees' portion of medical insurance, but we do not pay any towards their dependent coverage. Employees select a plan they want, whether it's a full family coverage or a spouse only or a child only or children only. So they have those options, but they have to pay the premium for that. So if those premiums had gone up, not only would the county's portion have gone up by those percentages, so would the employee's portion go up.
So they'd be paying out a considerably more amount of money.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we took all of that into account. The policy changes that they came up with is one of the big drivers for this increase was a 30% increase in pharmacy costs.
Wow.
And some of that is because utilization went up more, but also because pharmacy costs in general have gone up. So obviously you can't eat that kind of those kinds of increases in any year. So one of the things we've done is they've added a $150 deductible on the pharmacy, which means our employees would pay the first $150 of their pharmacy bills on the front end, meet that deductible, and then they're okay. Now that is also for the family, but it caps at $300. So whether you had 2 or 3 children, 1 child, no children, you'd still only cap at $300 on the family, and then after that, it's the regular plan.
Okay.
But we did have to also take some of those drugs cost up. Now generics we kept at $10. We're taking up the preferred to $60, and then the non-preferred to $75, and then the specialty drugs would be 25% of cost, because some of those can be extremely expensive.
Very high.
And so we just go with a percentage of that cost. So those increases would be in there if we went with the zero option. As I told the board, though, you only have so much money from growth in the tax base every year that you can put towards salaries and fringe benefits. And so if we put all of it into this one fringe benefit, then we've got no money for raises.
Right.
And so we have to weigh what we're going to do there. And I told them that I came down on the side of recommending the zero premium increase so that we had some additional money for looking at annual raises. And that's what they're wrestling with right now. As I said, we had about a 2-hour work session, and I think it was thoroughly vetted. We brought in the consultant from Mark III. He went over everything. I think I probably spent about 20 minutes going over the details before he got there. So it's a tough decision. It's a very tough decision,
Yes.
but that's part of budget time, and we have to make the decision on the medical insurance first, so that because it ties into the budget. But going back to your original question, the budget process starts in January.
Right.
We start with capital improvements programs then. All of our department heads have already submitted those. I'm reviewing those now and working on that. The other part is the operating budgets, and those are due back in to our office March 31. And as you know, we had a meeting this past week with all of our department heads going through the details on that. So once our department heads fill all of that out, our finance staff enters it all into the computer records. We have everything ready, and then we start meeting with each individual department. And so I meet with every one of them before we prepare the budget. I also meet with each of the existing outside agencies that we're funding. And then if anybody new makes a request, we'll also meet with them.
So you have all these meetings to conduct and still do your other responsibilities as well as county manager.
That's right. So the budget time is very difficult, and
Very
same
difficult.
thing for our staff, our finance staff.
Yes.
A lot of, because they're in those meetings as well. The
Yeah.
finance director, our assistant on the budget, and of course HR is busy because they're doing a lot of the personnel records and things like that. So it is a very busy time of the year. Obviously, though, it's very essential that we have it. We do, I should mention too, we also have a budget retreat in January where the board sets the goals they want to accomplish. And so then my job is to take those goals, translate those to the department heads and say, make sure you have these things in there. and then we try to fund as many of those goals as we possibly can with the money we have.
Let's back up just a second so that we know exactly what we're talking about here. Tell me, if you would, define capital improvement.
Well, a capital improvement is any project or a piece of equipment that would be $5,000 or more, and it has a useful life of over 2 years.
Okay.
So, you know, a laptop computer would not be one, but if you were buying 5 at a time, that would be.
That would be.
And, of course, any vehicles, any heavy equipment that we might buy, obviously a building renovation, things of those nature.
And what about operating expenses? How would you define those?
Well, operating is just the daily cost to run everything. You know, utilities, salaries and wages, benefits, everything it takes to pay the daily bills. That's not capital.
That's not capital. Moving on to the budget process, moving back to the budget process again. Now, this was, we go through the budget process, and this is something that has to be done no later than, completed by July 1.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So after we meet with all the department heads and meet with all of the outside agencies, then my job as a budget officer under the law is I'm to present the board with a proposed budget. And at that point then, as you said, before July 1, we have to have a budget in place. Now, there is a provision in state law that if we weren't through, we could put in what's called an interim budget, which would be a continuation of the current year's budget until such time as they could finish it. But we've never had to do that. We typically finish it up in June without any problem. So usually I get the budget to them around mid-May, and then we present it at that point to them. Then we start holding budget work sessions for the board, and they go through that process. We basically go through every fund that we have, and you know, they're asking any questions they have. And then at that point, the first meeting in June, we schedule a public hearing on it, and that's when any citizen can come in and make any comments they want to make about the budget. And that's the other thing, it's online. Once I present it to the board, within about 2 or 3 days, we have it online on our website. We also put hard copies in the libraries, so that people have an opportunity to see it a couple of weeks before the public hearing, and then they can comment on it. And they can also call us and discuss it, you know, if they want to.
And we do encourage them.
We
to
do
come
encourage
and comment,
them
because that's how we know things.
That's right. That's right. And so typically the public hearing is our first meeting, which is the first Tuesday of June.
Okay.
And then they adopt it on the second meeting of the month, which is the third Tuesday in June. And then, as you said, it becomes effective July 1.
Right.
So that's the budget process. And then once we close out the year, after that year is closed out, then of course we start the audit in July every year. So our finance staff no sooner finishes putting together the next year's budget, then they're starting to work with the auditors on auditing and getting a financial report out for the prior year.
Right.
So it's a cycle for them every year of how they go through it.
And the reason I mentioned July 1 is because that's the beginning of the next fiscal year, and that's why we have to start so early in January.
That's correct. Takes about 6 months.
Takes about 6
to go
months.
through it. That's right. And you can't do it too soon because you want to have good numbers.
Yeah.
And so when we start when we have the meeting with our department heads in March, we're able to give them February numbers.
Right.
So they've got 8 months out of the 12 months that are solid. We know this is what's happened, and then they're able to project the last 4 months.
All right. I want to move on now to Wayne County growing with everything we've got going on. We've got a lot going on right now.
We do.
We have the new detention center.
That's right.
Man, that thing is moving along.
It is moving along great. We went, in fact, last week and toured it and met with the superintendent over there, and it's coming along extremely well. I was there with our facilities director, Kendall Lee. We went through it. Everything is on schedule, and that is programmed to be ready in October. So we're moving forward with that very rapidly. It'll be here.
Well, I tell you, those guys out there building that facility have done an amazing job. They work in all kinds of weather. I mean,
yeah, it's amazing with the not cold weather, but wet weather that we've had, that they're still on schedule.
Yeah.
That's credit to Daniels and Daniels. I think they've done a great job on it.
The Ag Center, Convention Center is moving along quickly.
Yes. We're meeting now with the architect every 2 weeks, along with the construction manager at risk. I think we had told everybody before, we've hired T.A. Loving to do that. So they'll be heading up the construction on it. So now we're meeting every 2 weeks with the architect, nailing down the real details now. Yeah, we had the conceptual plan of it, had the floor plan, what it's going to look like on the exterior. I think everybody's seen the pictures of it. Now we get down to the nitty-gritty, you know, what color carpet and what are we going to do, what kind of floor covering, paints, all of that different stuff. The
Maxwell Agricultural and Convention Center?
Yeah. Maxwell Regional.
Maxwell Regional. That's
so the initials we're using, Wayne, are MRAC.
MRAC.
That's a little easier than that big mouthful.
Yeah, that is a mouthful there. But I like that, MRAC.
Yeah, but it's coming along. We hope that we'll have the plans finished June. At that point, we think we can already have the CMAR could have bid out the site work, because remember they're going to bid out to subcontractors every component of the work. So we can do the site work only, hopefully get that done in June and start cranking up.
And looking for the first shovel to be dug?
Probably, I would say July.
July?
Yeah, with the site work. And then the actual construction probably August to September. And we're looking at, tentatively right now, we're looking at a January of 18 opening date.
2018. That's moving along very quickly.
It is.
But wow, and what a facility that's going to be.
It's going to be a tremendous asset to this community. It really is.
All right.
And our agricultural offices, as you know, are in some pretty old buildings. They're not adequate space for them now. So this is going to be a big improvement for our agricultural center. And then the convention center part, we don't have anything that approaches what we're going to be building there.
That's right. The Wayne County Board of Commissioners meet twice a month, the first and third Tuesday, and the public is always invited to attend. And I want to thank George Wood, our county manager, for being with us today, and I thank you, sir.
Glad to do it, Wayne.
And if you have any questions for our county manager, you can email.
Yes.
Can they do that?
Absolutely. It's on the website.
It's on the website, which is our brand new website at waynegov.com, waynegov.com. You can email Mr. Wood at george.wood@waynegov.com. And I thank you very much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
Today we're at the Wayne County Public Library talking with Director Donna Phillips. And Donna, this is Poetry Month, I believe.
It is. April is National Poetry Month.
And as a result of that, you have asked several people to come in and read their favorite poems.
That's right. This year, Wayne County Reads' theme is poetry. We're calling Wayne County Reads project this year Passionate for Poetry. And so what better way than to invite the community to come out the whole month of April and to share a poem that they're passionate about.
Wonderful. Let's get an example right now.
Hello, I'm Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager, here to support Wayne Reads, and a poem out of Poetry 180, I guess our book that we're promoting. So we'll turn to Richard Jones, White Towels. I have been studying the difference between solitude and loneliness, telling the story of my life to the clean white towels taken from the warm dryer. I carry them through the house as though they were my children asleep in my arms. The end.
We're back on Wayne Goldsboro Television. Thank you for being with us. And by the way, we just mentioned earlier in the program that today the first full day of spring. So it's time to get out and start doing things.
That's right.
And the spring, I guess weather-wise, came a little early for us this year. That doesn't mean it can't turn cold again, but things are looking pretty good for us now.
That's right.
Historically, the average latest date on average of frost in Wayne County is April 15th. So So I don't see, I mean, we've got another 2 weeks, or 3 weeks actually, before we get to that part of the calendar. So things are looking pretty good though.
Well, they really are. And, you know, it was so warm last week. Oh, it was awesome. And then over the weekend, we got some areas got some rain, and it cooled off some, and it was a good reminder. And I'm just looking around at all the early blooming. And
I
I'm
know.
like, please.
There's
stay
bloomers
put.
all over the place.
There are.
I'm
and
telling you.
I'm a little worried because I'm seeing a lot of tulips. And I planted tulips, and there's nothing happening.
Really?
Nope.
Well, tulips are annuals.
I
so,
may not
you know.
have timed that very well. I think I did it a little too late.
Well, you've seen narcissus, and those actually bloomed and have already spent. So,
Right.
but it's a gorgeous time of year with all the flowers budding out. And here's the thing about buds, on flower buds. Even if we get a freeze of some kind, and let's say it's 32, 31, 30 degrees, it can still freeze, and if the buds haven't opened, they're probably okay. You know, they're probably okay. But if they've opened and we get a freeze, then they'll probably get frostbite. And if that's the case, and I'm not trying to make things bad, but if that's the case, you'll have to wait till next year. I'm so sorry. Anyway.
But you know, who knows what will happen. But I will say this: there's all this research that has shown for over the years, and that when the sun is shining and the weather warms up and there's flowers in bloom, that what it does good for your mental health, and people are happier. I really will say, I feel like the energy's better and clearer when the weather's beautiful. So
Yes.
harness that and
harness
carry it through
that.
all seasons.
In fact, you know, that's very good. We could have Dr. Peters in talking about that from the hospital, you know,
that would be
from Cherry
great.
Hospital. Talk about,
Yeah.
you know, what sunlight does to people, how it
Sure.
brings out their inner happiness,
Yeah,
some kind of stuff like that. You know. Yeah.
I like that. Line that up, sir.
Think your inner happiness.
Yes.
All right, here we go. If you're still working on your tax returns and you're over the age of 60, AARP tax volunteers will be at the Veterans Building. That's at 2001D East Ash Street, there next to the Senior Center on East Ash in Goldsboro on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And they're there now until April 14th, because after April 15th, you're late. You're late. Taxes will be done by appointment only. Appointment only. You'll need to bring your tax documents, of course, your W-2s, 1099s, and all that stuff. Bring proof of donations, vehicle taxes, home taxes, mortgage interest, out-of-pocket medical expenses, and all that. Each taxpayer must bring their original Social Security card. Copies will not be accepted for all persons claimed on the return, and photo ID. A photo ID is necessary. Military ID cannot be used to verify Social Security. So to schedule an appointment, you can call Angela at 731-1586, 731-1586. Tax returns prepared for seniors by appointment only at the Senior Center, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 till 2. Okay?
Wonderful.
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
The answer to today's trivia question, the trivia question was, ABC built a television program in 2007 around a very popular TV commercial about cavemen finding something so easy even a caveman can do it. Well, they built a TV show that absolutely flopped. It was horrible. But what was the name of the company about which that commercial was intended? What was the name of the insurance company? It was Geico! That's right, with the gecko and the Geico and all that stuff there.
What smart advertising. I mean, their marketing stuff is so good.
It is brilliant.
It is so good. It's so silly, and some of it is kind of stupid, but you remember it.
Sure
and
you do.
that's great marketing right there.
One of my favorites.
Great marketing.
Is the pigs coming home. Wee, and all the way home, wee, sticking his head out the window of the car, wee, all the way home. That's stuck in my poor feeble brain. That's one of my favorites right there.
It does. And I think, when you think about it, you'll remember commercials or a print advertisement or a radio commercial.
Sure.
A lot of times that is either funny or it had an emotional pull to it and you'll remember it. But if you can't remember the brand of it, it didn't come full circle.
That's
But
exactly
Geico,
right.
I mean, you remember the advertisements and you remember that logo.
Sure.
So,
Well, remember
played.
Speedy Alka-Seltzer, plop,
Yeah.
fizz, oh, what a
Yeah.
relief it is. And remember, of course, oh, I can't believe I ate the whole thing. And there's so many that just commercials that are just classics.
Yeah,
Better than a lot of television.
that's right. They'll be used in marketing classes for many years,
Yes,
I think.
indeedy. There you go. Anyway,
That's
we'll have
right.
another trivia question for you tomorrow. Very quickly, The next Red Cross Blood Drive, today's the 21st, that's tomorrow at Carver Elementary School beginning at 2 p.m. And then one on the 23rd, which is Wednesday, at Georgia Pacific in Dudley. That begins at noon o'clock. And also the same day at O'Berry Center, a blood drive that begins at 10 a.m. Red Cross Blood Drive, all right? So I do hope you're able to go out there and give blood. Please, it's the right thing to do. The Red Cross is helping people and saving lives every single day. We'll be back tomorrow. Have yourself a great day. Join us again tomorrow morning at 7 or at noon or at 5:30 p.m. or all three for that matter. We'll be here. Hope you're there. Until then, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
And this is Wayne Goldsboro Television.